What up? The itch is almost over. Look at that. I registered the boat today. It's funny. I went to the registry and Jay was already in line registering his boat, so it beat me to it by like 10 minutes. Anyways, it's warming up here in New Hampshire. Snow is melting. Almost gone. Almost time to go pick up the boat. I am considering maybe to go get it and fish this weekend, but if not, definitely should be able to get the boat ready for next weekend and get out there. Today's March 13th? 14th, so we're right around where I normally can get it out and hit a river or something just to get the lines wet. So this whole winter, since I've been off work, well, I went back to work in February, but I had a lot of time off since August, well, September, October. So from October till February I was at home, so I had all my stuff organized. The last thing I gotta do is my reels and rods. Got rods, got reels. So that's what I'm going to be working on next. I'll kind of go over through some of them that I'm using. I like Abus, I like Lus. I sold a lot of my reels and rods over the winter. So I'm actually only keeping what I actually use a lot. So I used to think quantity over quality, but now it's definitely quality over quantity. So I got rid of ones I don't use and just upgraded or keep ones that I like the most. I sold my Quantums, I sold all my Ardents just recently, and just sticking with the high quality reels. If you're using a baitcaster, I really think you want to at least be spending 150 on a reel. I'll probably stick around 200 and up going forward. Just cheaper reels. They just don't do it. You're gonna backlash a lot easier. They're gonna just give you a lot more trouble. So the better quality reel, the less crap you're gonna have to deal with when you're on the water. Spinning reels you could probably get away with. Maybe spending lesser money on. But again, I stayed between the 100 and 200 budget on spinning reels. That's probably where I'll stick on that. I'll show you some of those in a bit once I get my stuff set up. I have all my rods lined up. This is what I have left. So I went from having like 30 plus rods down to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 15. Some of these aren't mine. These are for the club giveaway at the end of the year for Team of the Year. So if you're around New Hampshire and you want to compete in New Hampshire Bass Hunters, one of the prizes for Team of the Year is going to be some nice Denali rods, brand new. But yeah, all I have is Denali now. I will have one Area 51 rod coming in when they finally get shipped out. I had my hands on it at the Fishing Expo, and their drop shot rod is really sweet, so I ordered one of those. Other than that, Denali's the way I'll be going this year, and then just Revos and Lus. So I'm gonna get my stuff situated. I'll be back. Alright, I got my line ready to go on. So this year I'm going to stick with just one brand mostly. So I have the Seagar Invisex, and we'll be running 15-pound fluoro on most of my bait casting setups. And I'll go over my setups after I put them together. So these should cover most of my rails. On my spinning reels, for throwing my Senkos and my Ned rigs and stuff like that, I'll be throwing probably 8.4 pound finesse fluorocarbon that I haven't tried before. It's a little bit more sensitive than the Invest X, so I'll see how that goes. And for drop shot, I have 6.2 pound ultra sensitive 100% fluorocarbon. So I've never tried this out, but Seaguar is the brand I really liked over the years. So this year, instead of just buying cheap line and just dealing with crap, I just stuck with one that I know I can count on all year. So I should be good with this stuff. On my drop shot, I don't get too fancy. I just run straight fluorocarbon. I know a lot of people will use braid and then a fluorocarbon leader. I just don't really trust my knot tying skills from braid to fluorocarbon. I mean, I actually never have tried it or looked into it, so if somebody wants to teach me on the boat this year, I'm down for that. But for now, I haven't had any problems with just using straight fluorocarbon. I mean, every once in a while you'll get a line twist, but for the most part, I haven't had issues with that. So I'll use the 6 pound there. And then I also got some mono, 15 pound mono that I will be using for most of my top water walking baits, my rats. So that's what I'll have on top water most of the braid. I do have some leftover spider wire. So I have 50 pounds spider wire. So I'll use that for now. I don't use braid too much, just mostly on my frogs. And then this was left over from last year, 6 pound fluoro from spider wire. So I'll only use that if I really need to. But we'll stick with this. So we'll get set up. So like I was saying, what I do is I take off all my rails off my rods. I'm going to pull off all the line. I did most of them already. There's a few left I have to get to. Then I'll pair them up. So I'll pair them up to starting with what I end up liking the most, my favorite rails, and put them on what I'm going to use the most. Probably my jig and stuff. So my favorite rail are the Revo Rockets, 9-to-1 speed ratio. So all my rails are high speed. I mean, when I bought a four-wheeler, I was once told, well, get the fastest one. It's only going to go as fast as you step on the gas. So eventually you want to go fast. Same with a spinning reel or baitcaster. I want to be able to go as fast as I want to bring that in, or when I catch a fish, bring her in real quick, pull up slack, and if I want to slow down, then I just got to retrieve slower and make myself slow down. So anything slower than a 7.1 I got rid of. I mostly have all 8.0s. These loose magnesiums, these things are sweet, super light, unbelievable light. These are like 7.5 to 1, I believe, but they bring 30 inches of line into or close to it. These things, super nice loose rail. I believe these retail around $279 maybe when they came out. Now I will never ever pay full price for a reel. I think that's nonsense. So I either wait for when the new models are coming out, so the old models are getting marked down, which, I mean, they're still great reels. They were priced high to begin with for a reason. Or if you just keep an eye on eBay, you can always find good deals on eBays and jump on them. It doesn't happen often, but every once in a while, some place will have 1 or 2 reels left over that they just want to wipe out, and you can grab one. For instance, this Revo STX. I believe this is an 8-to-1 or 8-to-0. So this thing's the new one, the Revo S4. I think I got this for like $145 maybe, and it retails for $199. This is the ALX. So I sold a bunch of reels and I bought a couple new ones. I think I sold maybe 10 reels all winter. So with the 10 reels I sold, I probably got like 4 new ones. This is one of them right here. The ALX. This thing's super light. High speed, it's a 8 to 0. Brings in, I believe, close to 30 31 inches, maybe 32. Super smooth. Look at that baby spin. Real nice right there. That's gonna cast pretty far. And it's really small and compact. I mean, this might end up being my favorite. It's actually smaller than the Rocket and a lot smaller than the STX. So this baby goes for like $250 when it came out a couple years ago. I found them on blown out sale for $129. You can't beat that. So this thing's nasty. So what else we got? So I like the STXs. Had a few reels cleaned and fixed this year by Reel Repair in Barica. Barica boy Ryan Doyle. He took care of me there. So if you need cleanings or upgraded bearings, definitely check him out. He'll take care of you. So this one, the bearings weren't that great and it was dirty as F. He cleaned that out. Now check this thing out. That's with the upgraded bearings. So this thing really didn't cast that well. Should cast a good dream now. And then my Lose Tournament Pro G. This was my favorite Lose rail before the magnesiums. It's a little heavier than the magnesiums, but it's a great reel. I had 2 of them. I broke the bottom of one of them, so I can't find it. But that's what I did to the Rocket. So I broke this bottom piece because I stepped on it, or whoever was fishing in the front of my boat that day probably stepped on it and broke it. But Ryan was able to replace it, so instead of losing out on a reel, I was able to save it. And if I can find my other Tournament Pro G that I broke the same way, I'll send it to him too. So that's that. What else we got? Oh, my spinning rails. So sticking with all Abu for spinning rails. I like the Revo S's. You can normally find these for around $100. I think for $100 spinning reel, this is really good quality. I used it on my drop shot all last year. Never have any problem. They're nice and smooth, pretty light. The STX I just got recently. This thing is beautiful. Not only does it look nice, but it's very smooth, very light. So this will probably end up being my drop shot reel this year, matched with my Denali drop shot rod. And another one, Never Give Up, Mike Iaconelli's Revo, also smooth. It's pretty much almost the same. I think it actually is the same specs as the STX, just different colors and stuff, and it's really sharp. It's cool looking. So I'm thinking this matched up with my Area 51 rod that's going to be like a green and black, and this purple would be a really cool looking rod. Definitely different. It'll jump out. Not that the color and looks matter. It's not going to catch you more fish, but it'll just kind of look cool. So those are that. I'll probably only be throwing 5 spinning rods because I'm more of a baitcaster guy. But my Ned rigs, shaky heads, and drop shotting, I'll be throwing spinning reels. I do have a Abu Aura too. That's a lot less in the price range. It's a Aura Finesse. And I've had this probably for 3 seasons. I believe when it came out it was probably around $90. It's alright. It'll get you through. It's just not as smooth casting as the Revos. So this will probably end up being the girlfriend reel or the guest reel for whoever's fishing with me that day. That doesn't have a reel, they get stuck with the bottom of the barrel on the boat, unfortunately. But if they want something better, they need to go get it themselves. So let me turn this TV off. I'm watching Scott Martin on YouTube. My favorite. Little Scott Martin action right there. Anyways, I'm gonna start pulling off the rest of the line and start setting them up with my rods. Here, if you're watching this video, I don't have too many subscribers yet. I just started out. My whole thing's fish with heart. I'm waiting for a heart transplant. I just got the news today from my doctor that I go in on the 28th for my all-day orientation for my heart transplant. Finally to be on the list. It'll be a big relief to finally be on the list. I'd still probably have to wait a year or longer. Hopefully it's less, but you never know. At least I feel good. But to get that out of the way, I'm excited. So anyways, that's my whole theme, is fishing with a heart, fishing with a heart. Jesus, I can't even say it. So if you can like and share this video and comment down below this video saying fish with heart and subscribe to the channel, I'm gonna give away a reel that I'm no longer using. It's my last one that I have for sale. It's not brand new, it's used. I just don't use it much. It's a Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier. It's a high-speed reel. I want to say it's 7-to-1. Should say it on here. Yep, it's 7-to-1 gear ratio. I barely used it because it's just a little bit bigger than what I like to have in my hand. Except when I'm peeing, of course. But I will give this away to a lucky subscriber once I hit 100. So hopefully we can get to 100 subscribers. I'm only around 40 something right now. So hitting 100, we can do that by sharing and liking the video or whatnot. One of you guys will get this reel for free. I'll send it out to you. It's like $100 reel. I think it's 2 years old, so I'll mail that out to you for free, just for subscribing, commenting below Fish with Heart, and sharing it on either Facebook or Instagram, and you'll get hooked up with a cool reel. So I'm gonna stop pulling some line off. Alright, so my first setup is done. Don't ask me why. It's March. Snow outside, and the first one I pick up is my frog setup, which I probably won't be using for a while. But anyways, I got it out of the way. So I'm going to go with a Lew's Tournament MG reel. Very good reel for the price point. I believe they retail at $149. You could probably find them a little bit cheaper if you search. The main reason why I selected this to go on my frog setup is, one, it's not really my favorite or best reel, and I don't throw the frog a lot, so I'm gonna use something that's gonna get the job done, but not something that I'm gonna miss out from not using it all the time. So like I would love to have my Abu Revo Rocket on here, but I don't throw the frog enough to warrant my best reel. So that's my logic of thinking, but this should be fine. It's got a decent sized spool, so it holds the braid real nice. I'm using the 50-pound spider wire braid. It's a 7-to-1 gear ratio, so you should be able to retrieve that fish out of the pads pretty quickly, grabbing the line. It has a 20-pound drag system, which is really nice for a reel at this price point. and it's paired up with my Denali frog rod, 7/4 heavy rod, very strong rod. You'll be able to horse them out of there, no problem. The 7/4 is my longest rod, so it's good to really get long cast out there, throwing the braid and the frog together. So I'll be trying this setup together this year, and I'm guessing it'll be a nice setup to use together. If not, we'll swap it out for a different reel, but I feel confident this reel can handle the job. Alright, so I'm not going to sit here and go through every setup that I'm going to do. I'll just go over a couple of them. But one I really wanted to show you before I moved on to anything else is my drop shot setup this year. So I love drop shotting. My setup might be a little crazy. Probably a lot different than a lot of people the way I have it set up. But if it works out, it could be great. So one, I went with the Revo STX spinning rail, which I'm very excited about. And then my favorite rod, my Denali drop shot rod. It's actually, if you order from them, it's not their actual drop shot rod. It is a 610 medium light. So I like the medium light a little bit better than the medium for drop shotting with real finesse baits. I'll do a medium if I'm throwing something a little bit heavier on a drop shot, or more likely on a Ned rig, but the medium light is the way I go. So you can order that. I think they call it, they don't call it a drop shot rod per se. It's a finesse rod. So the drop shot rod they have on there that you can order is, I think, a 7-footer instead of the 610, and it's just a medium. Both are good, but I've been using this finesse one for, this will be my 3rd year, and I've had no problems with it. But the most exciting part about this whole setup is this fishing line. I can't believe how thin this stuff is. Look at the diameter on this thing, 0.0073. Let's compare it to 15-pound test here, 0.013. I mean, this line is like the thinnest line I've ever touched for 6.2 pounds. So hopefully it's strong. We'll find out this year for sure. But if I can get away with this, it should be good. And yeah, you're probably better off using this line as a leader to braid, but that's just not my style right now. Maybe eventually, maybe after I waste this whole spool if I don't have luck with it. But that little spool, 150 yards, is what's on there. I can't believe it took all 150 yards. That's how thin this line is on that spool, which I normally don't like to put a lot of line on my spinning reel anyways when I'm throwing fluorocarbon, just to prevent a lot of line twists and line jumping off it and stuff, where mono sometimes is better. But yeah, I can't wait to use this. And then I got it paired up with Trocar drop shot hook and a Wu tungsten weight. So again, Wu tungsten is actually one of my pro staffs. I'm in the dark now, along with Denali. Again, everything I'm doing doesn't mean it's the right way. It's just the way I do it. I'm no pro. Don't claim to be. I have some sponsors, but it's not, pro staff is not because I'm a pro. It's because I'm promoting their products. And when you fish as much as me, if there's any way you can save money, you're smart to do so. And I'm not that guy. I used to be kind of that, just wanted a bunch of logos and look cool and stuff. Now I'm only going to use stuff that I actually going to use. So I'm only going to promote a company that I actually use. So like the Wu tungsten, I know there's a ton of weights out there. These ones I like. If I can save a little bit of money by using theirs and throw their logo on there and advertise for them. And they're awesome. The teardrop style is sweet. I used them all last year. Didn't lose many of them. I mean, you're gonna lose weights, but definitely happy with them. And then Denali, I was lucky to get on with them 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm probably never gonna switch from them. They've been great to deal with. I use them all the time. Definitely check them out. And then when it comes to rails, I'm not sponsored by any rails. I was on the Arden team, but again, I was not happy with their product. It just wasn't for me. So I would rather spend extra money on stuff I'm gonna use and feel comfortable with, and that's Revo and Luz. You might like Arden. They have a great program out there. Pretty much anybody that fishes is gonna get on their pro staff. You can get deals all the time at their shows. But for me, I'm fishing tournaments all the time. I'm not gonna rely on an Arden reel. I used them for 2 years, and they're not bad. They're just not a high-end reel. So yeah, let's go on to the next one. So I finished up some rods last night. Then I went to bed. I got a lot more to do still. I'll show you a few more of my setups. Then I'll end this video. I'm not gonna bore you to death and go through every setup I have. You'll see what I'm throwing throughout the year when I'm actually on the boat. So bear with me once we finally get out on the boat. Hopefully these videos will be more entertaining and exciting. Just sitting here watching me in my house probably ain't that fun, but that's all we can do right now. But it was warm today, almost 60. So a lot of that snow melted. So I'm gonna shoot for next weekend and finally actually get out on the boat and do some footage. But anyways, show you a couple quick more setups that I finished last night. Oh Jesus. I got a little bit of a bloody nose. Because of my blood thinners, my heart problem, I get bloody noses a lot. I bleed easily. Cut myself shaving the other day and it's still not healing. It keeps bleeding. But hey, I'm bleeding, it means I'm living. So here we go. So one of my favorite things to throw is the BBZ Rat. Normally I throw 30 series. I'll throw the 40 at sometimes. I have the 50, the big giant one. I never really throw it, but I keep it with me just in case I decide to throw the big swim baits, but it's not really something I'm going to do during a tournament. I did get some of these 20s. They're a lot smaller. I figured I'd put one on right now for spring. Early spring, I'll throw this, and as we get later into April, I'll probably move to the 30, but I'll try this one just because it's smaller. I'm sure the mice and stuff running around are a little bit smaller when they first come out, so we'll see. Jeez, I'm bleeding pretty good now. Hey buddy, here's Mr. Roo. Mr. Roo likes the rat, huh? You can't eat it, Mr. Roo. Mr. Roo, not for you. So, my setup here, I'm using a 6'10". Most of my top waters, I'm short, so I'm only like 5'6" with high heels on. I'm just kidding. But I'm about 5'6", so I like a shorter rod when I'm throwing top water. That way I have more room to work it without hitting the actual water. So I use a 6'8" on my walking baits and stuff. This rat, I want to be able to cast it out a little bit further, get a little bit more power into the rod when I'm hook setting with these treble hooks. And the way they kind of like suck the rat in, they don't smash it like they do normally on a walking bait. So this setup is a 6'10" medium. It's actually a crankbait rod, because you kind of, when you're actually retrieving this, it's almost like a crankbait. But you can do so many things with the BBZ rat. You can walk it, you can just retrieve it at all different types of Oh boy, girlfriend's gonna kill me. I'm caught up. That ain't good. We got our first catch of the year. Hopefully Jess doesn't watch this. Come on, get up, get up, get up. Really good treble hooks. I swapped out all the treble hooks to trocars over the winter. Yeah, that ain't coming out. I'm gonna have to cut that crap. So anyways, you can use these so many different ways. Smallmouth love them, largemouth love them. I'll throw this all year round. There's days when there's sunny skies and the water's clear. You can fish it over deep water and you can actually just watch them come up and suck it right in. It's crazy. They just come from all over to see it. Ciao, Roo. So definitely check out a BBZ rat. I tried getting on with Spro. No luck this year, but hopefully eventually I can, because I use a lot of their products. And I'm going to use it no matter what. So the line is the 15-pound fluorocarbon by Seeger. I showed you early in the video. And then I have a high-speed reel. It's the Lose. What do you call it? Pro Magnesium. Jesus, my nose is giving me a brain fart here. So Pro Magnesium, high speed. It's gonna bring in a lot of line in. So normally when you fish with treble hooks top water, you want to get them in quickly before they start dancing around and popping off. Those smallies love to pop out of the water and give you a heart attack. Probably one of the reasons why I have heart failure at a young age. But the Denali rod's sweet. This rail's gonna be good. So that's one of my setups there. My other walking baits and my other top water stuff, I'm gonna use the Denali Lithium 6'8". Shorter for me, it works perfect. So when I'm walking in and stuff, and it's actually a jerkbait rod. I haven't set it up yet, but I'll use 12-pound fluorocarbon. I have to go get some. I only had 15. I'll use the 12-pound with a jerkbait just to try to get that jerkbait down a little bit more in the water column than a 15-pound test. But the Denali jerkbait rod is perfect for me for top water. It's also a medium. Then my chatterbait rod. Alright, so I'm an idiot. I put the camera down, started talking, wasn't even facing the right way. My bad. Blood's rushing to my head. So, going a little crazy here. Bleeding all over the place still. So, that was my rat setup. I'm going to throw that a lot. And again, not fluorocarbon on my rat. I made a mistake with this blood affecting me. I use mono on my top water baits. So 15-pound mono, ripping mono from Seagar. So that's that, not the fluorocarbon. My fluorocarbon is over here on pretty much everything else. So here's my chatterbait setup, bladed jig, whatever you want to call it. I throw all types of jigs. I'm going to throw this bad boy a lot. This one in particular, remember that setup I showed you in the video? It's the Kitech Flapping Frog. Looking good on that 1/2 ounce chatterbait, all black there. So 15-pound fluorocarbon. Again, that's probably the lightest you want to go when you're throwing this. I don't know if you'd really want to go 12-pound when you're fishing a chatterbait, but you could go up to 17, 20. I'm sure you can even throw it on braid, but again, I'm taking chances this year, and I'm going with the 15-pound fluorocarbon. My rod is a little bit longer than most of my jig rods. This one's the 7.2. It's a medium, and it's finesse. It's actually finesse jig rod. So some people actually will use a glass rod for their chatterbaits. You want a little You got plenty of backbone here, and then up as you get to that tip, it has a really soft tip, and it's a lot more finesser. So you'll be able to get a really good hook set in play. You don't want to yank it out of them when they bite on these things. It's not a spinner bait. You kind of fish it the same way, but you're gonna hook it a little bit differently. And no trail hooks or anything like that on these, so want a little bit more leeway up at the top than being on your standard jig rod or spinnerbait rod. Spinnerbait rod, I'd probably go more of a medium heavy, but stick with the straight medium here. And that's gonna go with my high speed Revo ALX reel. This one's sweet, small, compact, and the setup's pretty light. When I'm throwing this, I'm gonna be covering a lot of water, so I'm probably gonna be throwing it for a long time. Same with a spinnerbait. It's a good way to find the fish when you're searching for them, and just you can throw a chatterbait all different ways, but most of the time you're gonna be throwing it a lot. So light setup is nice. I'm gonna get tired of throwing this thing, and this thing's gonna cast a mile. Bring in a lot of line quick when you need to. Of course, you can slow it down if you need to too. But yeah, very nice setup. And then to end it is my favorite jig setup. I'll have more than one jig setup because I'll use different trails, different colors. Instead of swapping them out a million times in a tournament, I'd rather just have a couple ready to go until I figure out which one's going to work the best. I mean, the jig's eventually always going to work. So I love throwing the jig. I always throw a half ounce. Very seldom will I downsize. I mean, if it's a real tough bite and you got to downsize to a small jig, then yeah, you have to. But I'd rather, if I'm going to downsize, I'm probably going to go a little bit more finesse and go with a lighter creature bait, or again, I'll just go with an egg rake or a drop shot. So when I'm fishing a jig, I want to go for those big fish, big jigs, catch big bass. So this one is going to be a good color for the springtime. I have the crazy flapper on here right now from Kitech. It's got a green pumpkin and an orange belly, and the jig itself is like a brownish orange with sparkles, with orange trim at the bottom going right into that orange belly. So this is a nice springtime color for a craw. So that's the first color I'm going to try out. I'll have black and blue on there. I'll probably have all black. I'll have something with red. But for now, I'm going to try this combination out. And then again, this is paired with my favorite rail, my Revo Rocket. Super fast. It's going to cast a mile. It's going to bring in a lot of line. So when I'm flipping, you're going, hitting targets quick. Don't get a bite. You can bring that back in quickly. And again, you can horse big fish with this thing too. So usually when you're throwing that jig, you're going to catch a big one. You need the power to get it out. And this setup is perfect. 7 foot for me, which is perfect. Like I said, I'm a short guy, so I'm not using giant rods. So that's that. I'm still kind of bleeding all over the place, so I'll end this video. I don't want to gross you out. Unfortunately, it's just part of my life now that I'm on blood thinners from a heart issue. I'm still here, so that's the whole point of this channel, is to, show that you can still do what you love, even, overcoming your condition. This is my condition. It's not going to stop me from fishing or playing baseball. I'll just have some bloody noses here and there. Who knows, maybe it'll attract the fish. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to give away that reel once we hit 100 subscribers, which ain't much, but it's my first milestone. Again, I'm not sponsored by any reel companies, or I'm not rich, so I'm not going to be giving away free reels anytime soon. But a used reel, I don't see why anybody would want to turn down that. It's the Bass Pro qualifier, no complaints, one of the most reliable reels that have been out there for years and years and years. It's a little bit hot, heavier than what I'm going to be throwing, so that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to have too much need for it. But I'm sure somebody will use it. I'm not going to just toss it away, and I'm not just going to let it sit in the bottom of my box either. So there's your chance for a free reel. Make sure you write "Fish with Heart" in the comment box, subscribe to the channel, and share the video on either one of your social medias, Instagram, Facebook. If you want to tag me in it too, Mark Cebulski Jr. If you search for me, send me a friend request. And on Instagram, it's Mark Cebulski is the one I'm using. And tag me, and I'd like to see who's watching. So yeah, as soon as we hit 100, I'll pay for the shipping, send this out to you. Hopefully the next video I'm actually on the water. Again, I'm shooting for next week. I'm dying to get that boat out. I'm sure not everybody is interested in me just sitting here talking about my setups. No, I sure ain't. I'd rather be out on the water talking about them. And once we're on the water, I'll go through the rest of my setups that I'm using. But it gave you a little taste of what I'm starting with. And yeah, just remember, fish with heart, spring's on its way.